Donald Trump is engaged in a controlled demolition of American institutions, and he's doing it on behalf of Israel. This was all part of the plan. He said he would do this. Trump is suspending $584 million in grants to UCLA, basically to the most advanced research institutions in the US, which are responsible for the US edge and the internet, for scientific research, for nanotechnology, any research that comes out of the US. And the UCLA's Mathematics Center is at the heart on the West Coast of advanced research institutions in the US. And he's cutting over $500 million because UCLA allowed a Palestine solidarity encampment to take place without criminalizing them, protesting the genocide in Gaza. And then we have the whole Department of Homeland Security suspension of grants, federal disaster grants to states that allow companies to boycott Israel, which is actually protected under the First Amendment. This is the Homeland Security. They tried. There was an uproar, and Steve Bannon said this is a disgusting Israel first policy, and so they say there's no FEMA requirement tied to Israel in any current order. No states have lost funding. They're backpedaling, but then they say DHS will enforce all anti-discrimination laws and policies, including as it relates to the BDS movement. So they are still enforcing it on Israel's behalf, denying disaster aid if this hypothetical scenario, which isn't taking place, takes place. And what they're saying is that they're doing DEI for Israelis and Jews on universities and at the federal level, while they are attacking DEI or attacking, I would say, civil rights programs for everyone else. They're forcing Ivy League universities to hand over data to prove that they are not engaged in affirmative action, and allowing historically underprivileged communities like Black people to gain admission unless they have extremely high SAT scores. That's what they're doing to Brown University. But at the same time, they're pummeling all these universities for phony, bogus accusations of discrimination against one of the most privileged groups in world history, American Jews. They're setting up like a two-tiered system of DEI on behalf of Donald Trump's donors. Can it get any more anti-Semitic than that?
I saw also they're getting involved even in individual cases. So like that young woman in Florida who was making fun of a fellow student, a guy who was wearing an IDF shirt, and it was on video. And then the Trump administration, people were like calling for her to be basically expelled.
Yeah.
And they're like
Leo Terrell.
Yeah.
They basically purchased a black Fox presenter to shill on behalf of Israel.
Even in these individual cases, like it's not just even like on cutting funding, cracking down on a white school, even getting involved in individual cases. Like there's one student whose feelings were hurt because he got made fun of for wearing an IDF shirt. And now, of course, it's like a national issue for this young woman who was on tape making fun of the IDF guy to be expelled. It's like extreme form of DEI. It's the most extreme DEI ever.
Well, it's also, the woman was obviously defending herself against a Zionist cry bully who doesn't provide any context to the video. And he was obviously provoking her. Yeah. And she has integrity. Yeah. She's someone who is an upstanding graduate student who seems to be pretty well liked and on her way to an advanced degree, and they're destroying her life on behalf of a foreign and apartheid state engaged in the mass starvation and slaughter of a captive indigenous population. That's what this administration is. They hate their own citizens. They treat their own citizens like garbage on behalf of Netanyahu's cutouts. That's the least America first thing you could possibly do. Here's this trashy Fox News freak that has been installed as U.S. attorney in Washington, D.C., Jeanine Pirro. Trump wants everyone from Fox News in the administration because he doesn't have that much of a perspective on the world outside Fox News, it seems. That's why he chose John Bolton in the first place.
With anti-Semitism in this country. And the statistics bear that out. And I think now more than ever, we are seeing increased numbers. So what does that mean? What it means, if you can get from, my tone, we're going to be very aggressive. You heard from the FBI, the MPD. We're going to look for these cases. We're going to prosecute these cases to the full force of the law. It's a problem and we're not going to tolerate it. Anti-Semitism has historically been one of the biggest scabs in the world that keeps getting picked on and picked at. So from my perspective, I will go forward with every case with vengeance.
With a vengeance. And, this is an administration that does not believe that any other minority group in the U.S. faces discrimination, opposes civil rights for all groups except one, which happens to be the most historically privileged in the 20th and 21st centuries. And what it's doing, it's obvious, okay, Trump is doing this on behalf of his donors. He's not dipping into his own money to pay for campaigns. His business empire is probably a lot like Robert Maxwell's, where he just pilfered the pension funds of employees in order to pay off the bankers who, in order to pay down his debt to financiers. It's probably all just his billionaire image is just a hologram. And so he depends on the Adelsons and Ron Lauder, who is a complete Netanyahu cutout, who donated $5 million to Trump's MAGA Incorporated dark money super PAC. Of course, he's doing that. But what he's also doing is he's involved in the controlled demolition of American institutions. And he's setting up Jews to collectively take the blame for it. That's what he's doing. And fueling the anti-Semitism Jeanine Pirro complains about, and then expanding the net of criminalization and censorship in response.
Yeah. It's
a very dark, dangerous scenario. And I don't know if people see it clearly enough. It's going to end very, very badly for American Jews. I don't know. We have no voice. This is our voice is this live stream, but all institutions are controlled. Jewish institutions in the US, all the major institutions are controlled by genocidal fanatics who hate us, who hate non and anti-Zionist Jews.
The only positive here is that the younger generation is not on board with this, as we've talked about. It's not the fidelity to Israel just doesn't exist among young people to the way it does with older generations. Our generation.
It's a symbol for something bigger. It's a symbol for their disenfranchisement and the fact that they're going to grow up as debt peons and that none of them will be able to own homes.
Yeah.
It's a symbol of just the complete lack of democracy and economic opportunity. And so it's a perfect place to point the finger